Just as a reminder of these 4 stages, for the first 4 stages of the path, for the people who are not, who did not listen to that lecture, we first have pseudo-spiritual, fake spiritual, social spiritual. Then we have the spiritual tourist, which wants to find the path and hasn't found one yet. And after that we have a devotee, which devotes itself to a path, has chosen the path, but still the worldly life are the center and the spiritual path is in the second place. The transition that Haley is asking about is a transition from this stage in which we are married to a spiritual path, but we are more married to worldly life, family, society, money, whatever. We move from there to the stage of a spiritual disciple, the struggling sadhaka, as it's called in the Indian tradition, where spirituality is the core of our life, is the main part of our life, and that normally comes to place when we are, let's say, going to a monastery, going to an ashram, going away from the world. In the tantric path, where we aim to conquer our daily life and make them spiritual, make them divine, and so forth, the position would look a little bit different. A, you can do it and go to a monastery for some years, and you can be a full-on tantric also in a monastery, and there were many, and still are today, tantric monasteries and tantric ashrams. But even the life in that ashram would be more vivid. If it is a left-hand tantric ashram, it means that there is a love life, there are couples, and so forth. So it can be done in that way, by living in an ashram and then devoting yourself and working as a service, as seva, as karma yoga, and so forth. Or it can be done by living in the world, having a regular job with an income, paying your bills, returning to your apartment or your house in the end of the day, and not to a monastery or ashram or something like that. But that would mean to move into the state of what is called full-time yoga, in which you learn to do spiritual practice while you are in your daily life. So there are techniques, and they're also given in our weekly Tantra course, in which we begin to become, or to turn every conversation, every act, when we drive, when we cook, when we eat, we turn that into a spiritual practice. There are what is called micro techniques, in which, for example, you can do all sorts of meditations when you drive. Of course, you have to, don't do it if you haven't been initiated to it. You might trance out and smash into something. There are particular meditations to do when you drive, when you walk, when you speak to people, when you work. The Vijnana Bhairava Tantra is full of such techniques, and a lot of the spiritual literature, the teachings of Gurdjieff, and so forth, are filled with such techniques in which, let's say, in the early stages of becoming a spiritual disciple, you struggle. You really make an effort to bring spirituality into your daily life, into everything. When you speak to your mother on the phone, you bring an immense love, and you do it as a spiritual practice. When you go to the shopkeeper, you really connect heart to heart to that shopkeeper. When you're having an argument, you find profound silence inside that argument. Deep, deep silence. You get angry, you find silence in the anger, and you still are angry. That's the tantric path, and so forth, and that anger is alchemized. And in this way, we can spread the spiritual practice until it enters every segment of our waking life, and in the higher stages also in our dream life. For example, in the first few years when I was practicing Tantra Yoga, then somebody very close to me was in need of money. So I went back to Israel, and I had many, many jobs. And in order to really make a lot of money to give support in that situation, it was needed. I would start working at 3:30 in the morning giving newspaper, so before going on other jobs. And from about 3:30 in the morning until 6 when I would finish, I would do a very soft breathing exercise, continuously. And after 2.5 hours of giving newspapers, I would sit and close my eyes and just be in utter bliss. Just utter bliss. And apparently I was just giving newspapers, but inside I was holding a very particular rhythm of the breath. I remember walking up the stairs, I'd walk a little slowly up the stairs because I had to breathe in that way, but just going and doing everything inside this state of practice, of real spiritual practice, and having the attention constantly directed inside to keep the practice and outside. And then my work became a wonderful spiritual practice, an ecstatic spiritual practice, and so forth. You can repeat mantras, and in this way, or many other practices, in this way, the work becomes a wonderful spiritual practice. This is what Tantra is about, and this is what texts like the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra and others, that's what they are about.
Hey guys, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content on spirituality, Tantra and more.
And if you want to sign up for our online classes or for our retreats, you can see our website on the description below.